The following is a paid issue advertisement.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights.
Paid for by RealAmerica.vote, a DBA of New York Citizens Audit Civic Fund, Incorporated.
Go to RealAmerica.vote.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So this is brand new. The FDA commissioner, Food and Drug Commissioner, Marty Makary, is going to resign today, according to two sources familiar with the situation, the latest leadership change at the Federal Health Department. I guess there's been a public pressure campaign. I've interviewed this guy a couple of times. I like him. I really like him on the food. Let's see here. Deputy Commissioner for Food, Kyle DeMontis, will lead the agency. Makary did not follow. Makary's planned departure follows weeks of intensifying pressure from powerful Republicans, anti-abortion groups, and the Wall Street Journal editorial board. On Friday, Reuters and other outlets reported that President Donald Trump had signed off on a plan to fire him. Why? Let me see here. Is this because of the abortion pill? Might be, because let's see here. The White House has not yet found someone to replace. Makary was criticized for actions including his handling of reintroducing flavored vapes into the U.S. market. That was a stalled abortion pill review and public disagreements with drug makers over reviews of potentially life-saving medicines and vaccines. The Journal's editorial page has featured at least a half dozen op-eds blasting Makary for controversial drug rejections, including most recently a cancer drug from Replimune, and calling for his ouster. Now, these are some of the good enemies. You know what I mean? You want to have these guys as enemies. Now, hold on a second. I want to go to President Trump, still talking at the White House right now.
About Americans, how they're feeling about
every American. Are you listening to me? Every American understands, and they just had a poll, like 85%, which is surprising. It's only that they understand that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If Iran has a nuclear weapon, the whole world would be in trouble because they happen to be crazy. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. Now, if the stock market goes up or down a little bit, the American people understand it. When it's over, you're going to have a massive drop in the price of oil, which a lot of people thought would be higher. And I mean, it was $99 yesterday, which is low, which is relatively low. When this war is over, oil is going to drop. The stock market's going to go through the roof. And truly, I think we're in the golden age right now. You're going to see a golden age like we've never seen before. The minute it's announced, and I'll be the one to announce it because I'm the one that makes that decision, I could leave right now, and it would take them 25 years to rebuild their country. But I don't want to do that. I want to have it complete and total. So you ready? As soon as this war is over, you're going to see numbers like you've never seen.
I know how much you value loyalty. I know how much you value loyalty. Are you comfortable with people serving in the military if they personally oppose the Iran war or you?
It doesn't mean I'm happy about it, but I live with a lot of different
Question on redistricting. To voters who are confused about the changing maps, the changing dates, and to African Americans concerned that this is going to draw black members of Congress off the map, what do you say?
Well, I think it's been a wonderful process. They've been the Democrats, or as I call the Democrats, because they are dumb in so many ways. They've redistricted for years, And now we took our shot, and it looks like we're going to pick up a lot of seats, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. We want voters to have their choice. We want fair voting. We want fair elections. The Democrats have been cheating on elections for many years, and all we're doing is winning. Thank you.
And there he goes, off to China, going to the helicopter. So, very interesting things there. You know, it actually clicked for me. I know Iran should not have a nuclear weapon, obviously, but I also know now more than ever that they really can't have a nuclear weapon because they're not behaving rationally in most of these negotiations. They're proving themselves to be unworthy, incapable. We can never trust them to have a nuclear weapon. Just look at their response. We forget. What did they do when we started bombing their nuclear and missile facilities? They lashed out in the most aggressive yet reckless way against Persian Gulf neighbors, right? Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, on and on and on. And how did they do it? Did they do pinpoint strikes? No, they just lobbed a bunch of stuff. And if we allow them to have a nuclear weapon, these are the kinds of people they are, the leadership there. He's totally right about this. Cut 7, if you don't mind. Cut 7.
Bombshell. President Trump's shocking and evidence-free claim.
No, stop. I want we don't have to do it. He basically just says what I said. He's talking about how terrible the leadership is over there. Very, very dishonorable. And they basically, you know, I heard this said once before. It's fun negotiating with somebody who's smart, who wants something from you, right? And you want something from them. That's an interesting negotiation. You got two smart people. But when you have somebody who's just like a crazy monkey with a machine gun shooting it all over the place, that's not interesting. That's not fun. That's just wild. And, you know, it's cute and all, right? The monkey with the machine gun. But guess what we could do? We could kill that monkey. We could easily kill that monkey. We could watch him do his antics, and we can duck as he fires the bullets all over the place without any rhyme or reason. But we do have the power to bring this all in for a remarkable close. We could kill the monkey. All right? So the people at that table, we know where they are. We know where they go home at night. We know where all of them are. And we're watching very, very closely. All right. So, hey, one thing you'll notice, I don't think anybody in the media there asked him anything about the anti-Jewish attacks that are happening right here in New York City and beyond. Now, I will say this. Some of the local news, the local TV have been covering these things. Sometimes they do it with they're holding their nose. If you don't mind, Spectrum News, New York 1, a TV station where I used to work, actually. And I had a very good time there, but that was a long time ago. And maybe they went woke and weird. Cut 1, please. Cut 1. From this morning show sequence. This is protesters clashing outside a Brooklyn synagogue in Midwood. That is right in the heart of Brooklyn. Yeah? No? Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't look pretty. And it's ugly stuff. Here's another one if you want to hear it. All right. Here's another one that's just laying around the house, but it gives you a flavor as to what's happening in our country. Cut 16, pro-Hamas rioters.
Hey, what the is wrong with you, bitch? How can touch me? Let's go, mother. Come on, mother.
It's ugly as hell.
Are you celebrating 78 years of bloodshed? 78? Are you celebrating 78 years of bloodshed?
You know, it's one thing for this stuff to be happening in the West Bank. I can tolerate it over there. I mean, I don't like it, but that's where I've seen this stuff before. But for it to be happening right here, all right. And our friends in the local, forget the legacy. What about the local? All right, here's that old-time station I used to work for, New York 1. Carried my own camera there. I had a great time, but I can't vouch for it now. Cut 1.
Outside the Young Israel Senior Services of Midwood, the chants carried down blocked-off streets. Police lined the area as hundreds came out on both sides of the issue of land sales in the Middle East, which have been held here in the city. Pro-Palestinian protesters say the event promotes land they call stolen from Palestinians, including properties in West Bank settlements.
We are here today to send a message to the city and to send a message to the organizers of the event that these kinds of events cannot and will not stand in New York City.
The event advertised homes across Israel, with agents offering to guide buyers through the process. Counter-protesters say the demonstrations are unfairly targeting a largely Jewish neighborhood.
There's a synagogue here. This is clearly a predominant Jewish neighborhood, and they have the right to worship in peace.
Tensions boiled over several times throughout the night.
We are not against the Jewish religion. We are here against the Zionist people. We are here against the Zionist crimes.
The protests come as the city council weighs whether to override Mayor Mamdani's veto of an education buffer zone bill. A separate bill establishing buffer zones around houses of worship was not vetoed. Some argue the restrictions would go too far.
I think that these buffer zones are an infringement of constitutionally protected speech.
And while protesters say demonstrations like this are protected speech, some neighbors say bringing this fight into the middle of Midwood is creating unnecessary fear and tension in the community.
If they want to protest, there's no problem with protesting. Let them protest in their own neighborhoods.
And multiple people were arrested. Police don't have an exact number just yet. The real estate event will be heading to Queens.
It was under 10. Under 10. That report was lackluster. Lacking in luster. You've been watching my Gavin Newsom coverage. It's hot. It's hot. I'm single-handedly making history with the Democrat Party. Not that I really care about the Democrat Party, but I am rearranging their presidential contest with my coverage of Gavin Newsom. Yes, Patrick, hello.
You must call President Trump as soon as possible and have him rescue New York from Mamdani by enforcing his oath of office. It says he must defend the Constitution, not hand over the government to an Islamo-communist, which Mamdani is. He's communist because he wants to take $30 million of taxpayer money to build a government grocery store, which would undercut all the other grocery stores. That's what they did in Russia.
Listen. President Trump is not going to do that. I don't know if you heard Sid's show. They just talked about, they have a decent relationship. He's a terrible mayor. He understands that. There are no grounds for removing him right now from the country and the stuff that you have called to talk about before. It's just not possible. You got to understand that, Patrick. And here's something else. You are allowed to be, I don't like it, but this day and age, unfortunately, you're allowed to be a communist. You're allowed to believe in communism. The check that we have on Mamdani is when he does illegal things or unconstitutional things. That's when we go after him. And quite frankly, you could argue allowing these things to take over cities, we can, call that unconstitutional. But there's a way to do this. I'll say something else. It's funny. A lot of people talk about that oath to support and defend the Constitution. If you actually look at the paperwork that Mamdani actually signed to be the mayor, I don't think it says anything about that. You got elected mayor. He didn't have to take the oath. The oath is a what do you call it? A photo op. It's just a photo op. It's the strangest thing in the world, but it is the world. Hey, Spencer Pratt in Los Angeles is number 2 in that race, tied with Karen Bass. So that means they're both they're both following that Indian councilwoman, I guess. Look, miracles happen, and Spencer Pratt can win that thing. He can totally win it. All right? Good luck, sir. I don't care. Former Democrat, I don't care. He's got common sense. He deserves it. He took a risk, and he's thriving, and I love it. And Los Angeles will thrive, too. If they vote for that guy, be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network. 77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free. The
truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Hey, I just Venmo'd you for rent.
Nice. Now I can instantly spend it whether I'm checking out online with Venmo or using a Venmo debit card.
Say more.
More exactly. Because the more you do with Venmo, the more you get. Like earning up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash on a bundle of brands.
So, order more pizza.
The math demands it.
Get the Venmo debit card.
Venmo Stash bundle terms and exclusions apply. See terms at venmo.me/stash terms. Venmo checkout not available at all merchants. Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, you know, politics is rough, and I don't know exactly why this McCary individual, Dr. McCary, Marty McCary, is leaving. I know at some really critical times that guy was there and right on the money for some things that were probably not easy for him, but he did it, and he pulled it off, and he pulled back on that crazy COVID vaccine and a lot more. More on him in a second here. You guys know who Tim Burkett is. How are we on this UFO stuff? All right, I go through it. I've seen pretty much all there is to see, and well, I haven't seen everything, obviously, and the government hasn't released everything. But sometimes I wonder about some of these members of Congress. You know, AOC totally changed the game of being a member of Congress. What they do is, really more than anything, they want to be popular on social media. They want to trend, and because they're kind of like inclined that way anyway, right? They want to be well known. Now, Anna Paulina Luna, I like, and I think she is willing to roll up her sleeves and do the hard work, but I don't know, some of these guys. So you got the lawmakers on Capitol Hill. This is the UFO stuff, and they're saying all kinds of potential roadblocks, corporate interests, that kind of thing. Go.
We were denied access to the SCIF, and so to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman rule. We'll defund the position.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control. And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
I don't really understand, though, the whole part about light speed and the aliens, what did he mean by that? How is that going to help us on Earth? And does he believe that? Does he really believe that? I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Now you never know, I guess. Are you one of those guys who ever looked at those pyramids and the Aztecs and all that stuff? Kind of looked at it a little bit. I think that they were built by Peruvian Indians. I think that's how it happened. He thinks they were made by aliens from outer space, from far away. Why haven't I seen this? 800-8489-222, 800-8489-222. Dr. McCary, thank you for your service. Genuinely thank you for your service. Fantastic job. I wish they could have given him 2 weeks, 2 weeks notice, a month maybe, do it gentlemanly, but it's not how it goes, unfortunately, in government and too often in private life, too.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Settle down, you maniacs. Oh boy, what a mess. And it's worse than a mess. This isn't just a riot. It's an anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish riot. And you know where these things have led before in history? Gas chambers. It's insane. I can't believe it's happening. Now, I watch it on TV. My next guest actually goes into the middle of the mob to find out the truth. I was watching some of these videos and I saw a 77 flag, Mike flag, right in the middle of it. And Nino DeNino was our social media / all-around great producer here. And that was you. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I mean, you're shaking up. You were in the middle of a mob yesterday. What happened?
I love it. It's something that just really drives me crazy. I really enjoy going into the middle of it. I love going to protests, especially, reporting for 77 WABC and just having a lot of fun. So what happened was, anytime I go to these protests, it's pretty much happened every single time that I've gone for our station where they see the Mike flag and they actually have started to learn my name. So yesterday, a lot of them were calling me by my name and chirping me. But what the pro-Palestinian side has done more recently is they'll kind of push me a little bit and kind of tug me towards the center of their, what I will call just a group, or you could easily pretty much call a mob if you wanted to. And then they all start to grab my gear and grab my backpack and try to pull stuff away from me in different directions. But of course, I don't stop recording because that's what I'm there for. But yeah, it's definitely a little scary at points. It's extremely exhilarating, but it's my favorite part of the job, I'd say.
Okay. I wish you didn't have to do this part of the job. I wish it didn't exist, these anti-Semitic riots. Listen to this. It's not as loud, but the video is actually scary. They're coming down a very quiet residential street, and they're freaking out the Jewish people who live there. Cut 15. Knocking on their doors, beating drums. I try to imagine a crazy mob coming down 3rd Street in Garden City, where I grew up, or Sprague Street in Baldwin. So listen, all right, before you tell me before I learn more about your personal experience, what the hell is like the overarching thing? Who's there? Why are they there? And did they get permission to be there?
Yeah, so what I'll say is, for the side of the pro-Palestinian people, from what I've seen the past couple of protests, it's mainly the same exact people over and over again. And I've recognized these people even for the past 2 months, even for the vigil that was held a couple months ago, but it's really the same people on the pro-Palestinian side. And what they do is, for the side of the pro-Israel, it's never really the same people. Because what happens is these pro-Palestinian protesters will go to different parts of New York where they know that there's an increase in like a Jewish population. And you can really tell that because at the end of the protest, we walked for 5 hours yesterday around blocks of this neighborhood, and it ended at a subway station. And of course, everybody on the pro-Palestinian side got on the subway and left the neighborhood. And you know who was there? Just left. All of the Israelis or the Jewish people.
But they live there.
Exactly.
So how many people are we dealing with? And by the way, I call them pro-terrorists. All right. I mean, Palestinian. This is, for me, not a he said, she said kind of a thing.
Yeah. Hundreds of people flooding the streets.
Well, wait. So the people you recognize, there are a lot of them, right?
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they're being funded by?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know yet, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it at some point.
What about this? Do you sense, like, the police? What is their role in all of this? What I see is illegal. I see some skirmishes between cops and these rioters, but I don't see arrests. I don't see much in the way of organization and crowd control. I don't see, hey, get the freaking hell out of the road. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
Is it a hands-off approach?
I would say it seems like they want to be hands-off. It seems like no one wants to be there. Nobody wants to deal with it because at this point, it's just a lot of, I'll call them troublemakers that, you're right, do just go out there and try to skirmish and try to start fights in the streets. And it's both sides that really sit there and try to start fights. But, at the same time, it's one side's neighborhood. Right, and it's the other side who's just coming in there, coming on a subway, jumping off and causing havoc for 6 hours.
Well, I wonder now. Well, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They don't want to be there. I mean, let me ask you this. Have the Jewish residents expressed frustration with the cops who are not doing more?
Yeah, but
you said 100%. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, they love the cops. They've made it. I've heard 1,000 times last night. Oh, we love the NYPD. Thank you guys so much for coming out in here. But at the same time, they also want more to be done because, there's the question. Yes, people have the right to protest, but do people have the right to disturb neighborhoods for 6 hours, on a random Monday night?
No, they don't. And you don't have, because it's against the First Amendment. You peaceably assemble. What about this scene in front of the synagogue?
Yeah, I mean, they were standing outside in front of a synagogue. At one point, 30 of them got down, took their shirts off, threw it all in a circle or in a line. They stood in a line, and then they got down praying in front of the synagogue. And that's when they circled me and harassed me, because they told me that I was bothering them, but I was just standing there recording.
Now, this is something to think about, and I don't fault you for doing what you do. We need it, but it's something to think about. Some of these people are there because you're there, and they're going to get coverage. If they didn't get the coverage... And this has been a long time for a lot of people who go out and cause commotion. They want legacy media coverage. They want social media coverage. Have you ever thought about that?
That's what I thought about that last night, because when they got down praying, they started to surround me and said, get out of here. They're trying to pray. And I was like, I asked the guy, I said, wait a minute, isn't this a demonstration? Don't you want this broadcasted? And they said, no, we don't. So I said, so then what are you trying to do? You can't tell me that you want to come here in the middle of Brooklyn, start a protest, or what a lot of people would call riots, walk around for 6 hours, and then get mad when I go there to record it. That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
why else would you be doing it?
They're praying in the middle of the street.
Yeah. Shutting down
I mean?
blocks of Brooklyn.
Well, all right. Now, there's something else also. Like, these guys who go into the mob, sometimes, I mean, we know it's good content. We know we're going to watch, but what is actually being done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, look, hate has to be documented, but at the same time, I've wondered if there were no cameras, would there be protesters? And I've also wondered, like, let's face it, pushing and shoving and stuff like that. People like to click on it. How much of this is clickbait? You yourself say you enjoy it. And I'm not faulting you. I know you're an adrenaline junkie, and that makes you a good journalist, but we got to start thinking about these things.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I agree, but I also think, who knows? Maybe it would be worse without cameras, right? Like we saw, the race riots in Newark. Horrendous. Not really many cameras covering stuff like that. And at the same time, these people...
Are you talking about the one in the 60s
or
more recently?
Back in the day when there were no cameras and stuff like that. But even now, it's very odd because one side is covering their face and doesn't want to be shown on camera, whereas the other side loves it and they're saying, I love America, I love being Jewish, I love New York, I love Brooklyn, and look what they're doing to our neighborhoods.
Well, I tell you what, Commissioner Jessica Tisch, is that the name, right? You got the cool job, and that's all. You don't seem to want to break a sweat. All right? You don't seem to really want to roll up your sleeves and keep people safe. You say you do, and you say these things, and you say about community, and you say about, oh, isn't it great that you have a Jewish leader in me, but you're not leading. All right? You're going along to get along with a crazy mayor. And, you're actually closing doors on your future. All right? Because this legacy is going to follow you. And we're not going to forget. This is inadequate. It's totally inadequate. These people deserve so much more. And by the way, not for nothing, the prices they're paying. Nino, where are you from?
I'm from Jersey.
Where?
Morris County. I'm from Jefferson Township.
And did you go to college?
I went to Montclair State University.
Montclair State. A lot of people go there. It's a bargain, too, right?
It is.
It's not bad. All right. Keep up the great work. Be careful out there. All right?
Thank you.
He plunges right into these crazy crowds. One of these days, some idiot with a knife, right?
100%. Yeah, it's scary. It's very scary.
Why does everybody your age say 100% all the time? Who started that? Somebody started that. 100%. 100%. I've been hearing it now for about 10, 15 years. It's not brand new, but anyway, it's cool.
100%.
There he goes. Nino DeNino. How do we follow you and all of our platforms on the social?
Yeah, so you can find us. We post most of our content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at 77 WABC Radio.
77 WABC Radio on all the platforms. Nino, thank you. All right, there he goes. 100%. Bye. So, what do we think? Yeah, I remember there was a long time ago I saw a cartoon in the New York Times back when it wasn't crazy. And it was back when we had Howard Beach and those riots, right? And they had a sketch of two men fighting, a black man and a white man. And guess what was behind them? Like, behind one was a giant microphone pushing his back to fight with the other one. And behind the other one was a giant pencil and the point pushing on his back to fight with the other one, right? Print and broadcast kind of instigating these fights. And I'm not saying, it's something to think about. It's something to try to, what is the role here? Right now, I think this stuff needs to be seen everywhere. Because it's happening and it ain't going away. And we have a very anemic response from the people who should be going in there and, quite frankly, busting ass, right? Arresting people. Put them in the paddy wagon. Whatever happened to the paddy wagon? I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hank joined BJ's Wholesale Club the day he became a father of 30.
I coach football.
Now Coach Hank saves up to 25% off grocery store prices. 30 pounds of pasta, 3 cases of protein bars, 75 sports drinks.
And that's just pregame.
He knows teamwork, and BJ's knows savings. This is your home, Coach. Home of the save. Join for just $20 at bjs.com/SW Fort Worth and save 10 cents a gallon on gas for 6 months. Now open. Limited time offer. New members only. BJ's. Home of the save.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Man, they are making cats do all kinds of things that cats actually don't do on social media. Have you seen this stuff? They're making cats do all kinds of things, play instruments, do crazy stretching, just all kinds of antics that cats don't do. It's amusing. Half of the time I think that's real, but now I figured out it's fake. It's AI. And AI also I am very disenchanted with. It can help, but it can also overcomplicate things. All righty. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Stephen in Manhattan somewhere. Hello.
Yeah, thanks for taking the call. And quickly, if everyone wants to know what's in the brains of the CEOs at the New York Times, all they have to do is look at the headline font, German font, for years and years and years now, and I think it has a meaning. I think it shows the anti-Semitism at the New York Times. What do you think of that, Greg?
Well, number one, I do believe there's anti-Semitism at the New York Times and has been for a very long time and certainly remains. It's probably gotten worse. That's first. Number two, the font you're talking about, that Gothic-type font at the top that says The New York Times, that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's right,
every
day.
Well, I never thought of it having an ethnicity or an origin. I'll look into it, but the New York Times has been around since like the 18-something or other. It's been around for well over 100 years. It published in the 1800s. That's before the Holocaust. So, and there are plenty of Germans who came to America, right? German, being of German descent in and of itself, that's neither here nor there, right? So I don't know if I don't think it means anything anti-Semitic. All right. I don't actually. That font has been there since the very beginning. You recognize that?
I recognize that, but it also has with it meaning. It comes from a country that was Hitler.
Well, I know, but no, when they did that, when they actually started using the font, it was before Hitler. Right? Are we going to go about that? You know, do I have any German clothes in my closet? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just can't take it out on Germany right now. Right? I mean, you know, guess who the victims were in the Holocaust? A lot of German Jews, right? I mean, what do you want them to do? Change the font? I really don't care about the font. I care about what's in the paper and, more importantly, what's not in the paper. They're not covering this stuff adequately. Fair enough, Stephen?
Yeah. And you know how much the left depends on what things look like, you know.
Well, that's their problem. You know what I mean? It really is. I'm not going to, on this one, no. But I appreciate it. Let's see. Tim, hello. How are you?
Yeah. Hey, Greg, thanks for taking my call. Just a couple of things real quick. I love what you said a few minutes ago. Don't call them pro-Palestine. They are pro-terror. That was perfect what you said. They are pro-terror. I'm from Queens, but I went out to Brooklyn last night because I have friends in that neighborhood. Wanted to show my support. I was there. They are vile. They are disgusting. They were walking in the middle of the streets through a residential neighborhood. At the very least, that's a disorderly conduct, I would think. And I wanted to let you and your listeners know they are coming back tonight to my neighborhood. They're coming to Queens tonight. They're going to be in Jamaica Estates, another quiet residential neighborhood on 188th Street. They're coming tonight. They're sending out notices to the public, to the PS, whatever it is nearby that we're in contact with the NYPD. Everyone's freaking out about it. So these vermin they're not stopping. They're coming back tonight. And let me just say this. They hate Israel, but they also hate America. They hate the NYPD. Okay, you never see an American flag with them. I was there last night. You saw lots of American flags in the Jewish crowd, along with Israel flags, but you never see an American flag with them. They hate America.
Hey, let me ask you this about the cops. What about the cops? They could have been doing more, right?
I'll be honest with you. I love the cops. I support the cops, but yes, they were kind of keeping a hands-off approach, and they just seem to like want to, maybe somebody up high is tying their hands. Because they did not take a strong stand. You know, when they were walking down the middle of Ocean Avenue in the middle of the street, that's not legal, right? That's against the law. They should have arrested some of them.
Yeah, you got to arrest and you got to show force and you have to discourage and deter. And that's why you have to take action. It's going to get worse tonight. All right, be careful. All right, be careful. Thank you very much for calling, Liz. How are you?
Hi, Greg. I am great. Thank you. Thanks for taking my call. So I live in Aventura. My sister, Lori, who lives in North Miami Beach, I'm over, and she says to me, "Hey, Liz, have you heard of Greg Kelly?" I'm like, "Of course." "But no, do you watch him?" I'm like, "I listen to him." No. Do you watch him on TV? I said, "He's also on the radio at WABC, every day, 12 to 3, every weekday." And now she is a loyal listener, and she's listening right now.
Well, that's beautiful, Liz. Thank you so much. What's her name? Your friend there, your sister? What is she?
My sister. Her name is Lori.
All right, Lori and Liz. I love it. Just out of curiosity, how old are you guys?
She won't tell you, but I'm 65.
What a dumb question, huh? I'm so sorry. You sound 35. You really do.
I feel 25.
Oh, that is cool. That's great. All right. Well, we so appreciate the support. Yeah, got the radio, got the other thing, the videos, the TV and whatnot. So thank you, Liz. And thank you, Lori. All right. Thanks for making the switch. We'll be back with you guys later. Stay in touch. I got to go to Lauren now real quick. Hello, Lauren.
Hey, Greg. Listen, thanks for playing the interview with President Donald Trump with Sid. Oh my gosh, just hearing Donald Trump is just amazing. We love him so much, and protect him, God, on his trip. So, by the way, Canines for Warriors, great organization. I'm so glad that they're advertising on your station. They're 15 years doing service, and look at their Facebook site. It's amazing, the dogs and the veterans. Oh, my God. So how come they can't bring in water trucks and hoses and blast those terrorists to the curb? And if we were doing this at mosques, what would be the response, Greg? Huh?
I'm absolutely. If they brought in the mosque, they would bring in the National Guard. They would They try to shut down. I mean, it's unbelievable what the response would be. It would be apocalyptic, right? They would be, and it would just obviously, I mean, look at how they responded to, strings hanging in garages and pretending that they were nooses. Hey, look, about the fire truck thing. There's a couple of reasons, actually. Number one, that would take an insane amount of coordination, more than you might think, between the fire department and the police department, number one, right? You need that fire truck for fires, right? You need that water for fires. Fair enough? All right, that's one part. That's one part of it. The other part is, you will have people who will invoke the South, right? Hey, didn't they use fire hoses in the South? And, so fire hoses are therefore racist. I mean, I'm just talking practically speaking. That's not true. I don't believe that, but you will get that. Also, it's a little bit indiscriminate, right? Let's face it. You can get people who possibly are innocent. You can hurt them or at least make them wet. I don't know. I could ask my dad for a fuller explanation. He's put down a lot of riots in his day and managed them and handled them and keeps his cool in the middle of them. I never heard him talk about a fire truck or needing a fire truck. But I am going to follow up with them about that, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Nate, hater of law enforcement, and he's dubious about America. I've always suspected him of being somehow a Russian operative, but I don't want to cast any aspersions. Nate, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you for the introduction. First of all, regarding the New York Times, I don't know how the New York Times could be anti-Semitic. It's been owned by Jews for, since the 1890s. And the current chairman of the New York Times Corporation is Arthur Schultzberger.
Have you ever heard of the self-hating Jew? Have you ever heard of Jewish people who are rabidly opposed to Israel? You've heard of that, right? I mean, it does, just because you're Jewish, just because you're Christian, does not indicate your political views. Surprisingly and shockingly so sometimes. So just because they have Jewish publishers and had Jewish publishers, they weren't there for the Jews, certainly not during the Holocaust, and certainly not now. Certainly not now. See you later, Nate, and all the best to everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?